Bibliofools.
Welcome, everyone, to Bibliofools. I'm here with the one and only Dunch, Mr. Kyle Dunshey. Kyle, what's going on in your world?
A lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. What's a highlight?
The weather's been immaculate. It was so clear today. I could see the sky, I could see the valley, I could see all the mountains. I'm just loving the weather right now. It's a blessing.
Good. What's a low light?
My son has had diarrhea for 2 weeks, and we don't know why.
Ooh,
Lovely.
It was funny, and then it was concerning. That's no fun.
It is what it
Is
is.
he lactose intolerant?
We're trying no dairy, and he's still having diarrhea. And I keep telling the doctor, I'm like, let's do something about this. And she's like, just wait. I'm like, you don't know that this could be something serious. And I appear to be the only one who knows that this is catastrophic. So is this a me problem or a you problem?
I seem to be the only one reacting appropriately by panicking.
That's truly how it
Yes.
feels. Nobody else is panicking, and that seems wrong to me. But the weather's been great.
The
Yeah.
weather, yeah.
weather's been
Let's
awesome,
focus
though.
on the weather.
Seriously,
Good.
it's been so good.
Well, I'm also here with the original hot and spicy McBitchin' McKylan Rowe.
Oh, hello.
How you doing, bud?
What's up? I haven't thought about a McBitchin' in a while. They don't have those in New York. They don't have the hot and the spicy.
What?
They don't have the spicy chicken here. Yeah, there's
No.
not spicy chicken in here. So
That
when I
sucks.
make the McBitchin', it's just a regular chicken patty.
Not the
Boring.
same.
It's no extra flavor. It's like I'm just giving myself like probably cancer for no reason. Thanks a lot, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Not
Not even the spice.
Yeah, no good
Wow,
flavor
that surprised
profile.
me. Gee whiz.
For the listeners, context, a spicy McBitchin' is a hot and spicy McChicken sandwich and a McDouble, and you eat them together as one sandwich. And it is, how many of those do we have in high school? Like 100?
That was
Yeah.
our thing in high school.
We lived off those in high school.
Yeah, not that we
To the-
needed to. Like it's more expensive to eat that way.
We wanted to.
We were doing
and
that,
it was
yeah.
delicious. And it got to the point where the people at the local McDonald's, multiple in the area, knew what we were talking about. I think a lot of kids our age were doing it. It wasn't just us.
Yeah, I think we spread that thing. I like to just say that we did it and we spread it.
Yeah, I'm not going to take credit for that one, but I like to think so.
It's fun.
I'll lie and say it was us. It was us.
Okay.
Yeah, we made it. That was all us.
It actually started with us,
Yeah.
so not sure if you
And
knew that.
That's
It
crazy.
will end with
Crazy.
us. It won't live on. It's not going to be our legacy. When we die, it dies.
It does, for some reason.
Nobody is ordering a McBitchin' after one of us is dead.
And if they do, I'm going
No.
to come back and I'm going to hunt them
Yeah.
to
gonna
death.
hunt.
If you place that on my grave, I will reach up, grab you by the neck, and pull you down.
Well, incredible. Well, thank you.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
so-
What do we do now?
Speaking of things that are dead that should stay dead, like we would be in our graves pulling people down, we read the book Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. Such a good book.
I guess it's more of
So
like
good.
I feel like it's like an organic, dun, 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 but not Phantom
Phantom
Yeah.
Mask. Yeah,
but close.
but
Yep.
close.
We're all very excited about this because Frankenstein's the best. It just is. This is Mary Shelley's Gothic masterpiece about a scientist who creates a giant corpse monster. Before there was mad scientists and monsters as a trope, before there was even science fiction at all, there was this book about a young scientist named Victor Frankenstein who, obsessed with unlocking the secrets of life, builds a man from dead flesh and accidentally gives life to a nightmare.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know the story, but you really don't know the story until you've read the book, and that's what we're going to dive into for you. But there's so much to this book, and as of this recording, there is not, in my opinion, an accurate, good film depiction of this,
Yeah.
of the book,
Take
of
that,
the actual
Kenneth Branagh.
book.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh, you were doing really good until you decided the end sucked, and we'll explain maybe why that sucked. But Guillermo del Toro's masterpiece, I'm calling it a masterpiece preemptively, comes out November 7th, and so I think it will be very true to the book, and I'm excited to see what happens. But as of this recording, I've spent my whole life trying to find a good adaptation faithful to the book, and I haven't.
Yeah.
So,
My biggest thing is they always make it this big crazy, like even in the Guillermo del Toro, he has this big crazy lab and there's all this lightning, and I'm like, I want to see the shitty version where like Frankenstein is clearly just like a grifter who has a basement and he comes up with this like genius idea for like making life, like eternal life. But he's just a crazy, super charismatic grifter guy. And he's just off in this basement making this thing. Like I want like the small scale shitty version where it's just like, I don't know. Because he
Yeah.
puts it
Well,
together himself. Like that was my thing. Is
yeah.
I want to see that, like the lowly,
uh,
like he's a student who doesn't, he has a bunch of money,
Yeah.
but like he has to do it in secret. I want to see
Yeah.
that version.
We'll talk at hopefully not at length, maybe at length about like what actually happened. I want the listeners to leave being like, this is how it actually happened in the book, not every adaptation I've ever seen. Like this is how it is in the book, and I want to dive into that and really focus on that. That's my goal for this to, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's hard to separate though from everything else.
Yeah, we're gonna do what we always do, which is I was talking to a guy about the podcast, and he was like, "So it's like DVD commentary for books," and I was like, "Precisely. That's exactly what it is." So we're gonna do that for Frankenstein. Let's dive in.
So now
The novel opens.
Well,
Yeah, please.
before we dive in,
Oh,
I added a little
we got a
something
thing.
because I had some thoughts. How did you guys partake in this book? Did you listen to it? Did you read it? Did you do both?
I read it. I have a physical copy. I mentioned this to us. I have a physical copy that I've had since high school because we read it in high school. That was the first introduction.
Yep.
And I had my notes from then. So it was kind of a weird blast from the past. So I just read it again.
That's awesome.
It was both. I had it open on the Kindle and audio playing. That way I can read real fast.
It's just insane that you do that. It was at like 2.5 speed, and I was like, "Dude, Evan's a psychopath."
That's too fast.
It's insane. So here's my thing. I won't say which version that we listened to, and Kyle, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I hated the voice that my reader used for Frankenstein, and it raised an issue as we're talking about adaptions and getting into this. I hate that idea that Frankenstein just sounds like this sad, weepy monster. I'm like, he's a monster. He should talk like a monster.
I disagree with that fundamentally.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
He's playing the text. Everybody just does the text of like he's sad. He says he's sad and weepy, so
Yeah,
we do
because
his voice as sad and weepy. He's a cadaver monster. He should
No,
sound
you're
like
right.
he should sound like RFK. Like he should sound
I think
he should sound like he needs water.
I think you're right, and I think you're wrong.
Interesting. Okay.
What do you think? Here, Kyle, do
And I won't tell you
the
what. Just kidding.
Frankenstein voice.
Yeah, let's
I can't do
what?
Let's each do our own version of the Frankenstein.
No, I can't do the Frankenstein voice, but if I had to imagine it, it'd be very guttural.
Do
and at
your
times
version.
No, I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it. It's gonna sound like
Please?
shit. I'm not gonna do it.
Come
Okay,
on.
it'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
No. We're pushing
Okay.
you over this ledge.
Okay, so like at times it would be like, I'm so sad, and my creator does not love. Like just very guttural and deep. But then at times it would almost get like whiny, like a child, and very high. So it's the bass is very low and guttural and creepy and like organic. But then at times it gets, like I said, whiny and loud and almost howly like a dog. That's my opinion.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Evan, what
I'm
do
not
you
gonna
got?
do it because I don't have the vocal range for that shit. I just don't have it.
Make it up.
Yeah. I wish I could do a lower register because I'd want it real low, real guttural like you're talking. Because just anatomically speaking, his vocal cords would be all jacked up. It's probably like a couple people's vocal cords all kind of cobbled together. I was picturing like, when the demons talk in movies and it's kind of like two voices? Like it's like all unsettling like that. And he's like,
That'd be really good.
cannot inspire love,
Yeah.
like just
See?
crazy and that's what I want.
Yeah,
I like it
I
'cause
love that.
and then I'm with that. I would want mine. Now I got to think about how I'm going to try to do it. I want him to talk like this. Like you're like a little bit of Nick Nolte in the hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's just really trying because his voice is all fucked up.
Yeah.
And so it sounds weird, but it sounds cool. I'm a
Yeah, that's it right there.
a sad monster.
Give this man the job.
That's what I want
Okay, yeah,
for his what? Because because they always do it. It's like, oh my God, I was just trying to be I'm a monster man, monster mashing all around. I'm a monster.
But
It's
yeah,
annoying.
it's supposed to sound like unworldly almost.
Yeah.
Like it's not it's the most unnatural thing you've ever heard, and I think that's part of it. We need to make the distinction because a lot of people, I'd imagine a lot of people listening to this might know and some don't know. Frankenstein is the name of the guy who created the creature / the monster. The monster is not named Frankenstein. The monster does not have a name. So
It's
when we
true.
say Frankenstein, we are not talking about the monster. We are only talking about the dude who played God and created the monster.
Yeah.
That's
And
important.
let's meet this man. The novel opens in the late 18th century, framed through letters from an Arctic explorer named Robert Walton. He's
Wait.
writing to his sister.
No, I'll let you finish.
Is it not Robert Walton?
No, you're right.
Okay.
As I was reading this again, I was reading the first letter, and you're reading about this Arctic journey that's so mysterious, and then it's signed Robert Walton. I'm like, who the hell is Robert Walton? It
Yeah.
was supposed to be signed by Victor Frankenstein. I was just confused right out
Yeah.
of the gate. But
You're on
it's
a boat.
interesting. You're on a boat.
Walton's ship is trapped in ice. It's journeying through ice. He's trying to get to the North Pole, and they spot a mysterious, seemingly giant figure on a dog sled racing across the tundra. And then soon after, they spot and rescue another figure who's a close to dead man who identifies himself as Victor Frankenstein, whose terrible story unfolds from his sickbed.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
we're in the Arctic. Which is right out of the gate, not what you expect from this book. You're way up north in the ice and the sea, and you're like, I've never seen anything like that before when it comes to Frankenstein, but that's where we are. That's where it starts.
Yep. And I do really appreciate how taken with Frankenstein Robert is. He's just like so, and I think it's important for the character that you learn this about him
Yeah.
just from somebody else, and he's not talking about himself this way. Is Robert Walton's just like, this guy is the most intelligent. He just is so regal and smart and passionate, but there's just something broken. There's just
Yeah.
something wrong with him, and I wish I could help him, but he's just off, and it's just fascinating, and I just can't, I just want to hear every word he says. I'm fascinated by. And I thought that was cool. I never really took that in the first time I read this. I was like, oh, so like there's a reason he is this thing, but he has this charm and this like energy that is so enticing, and that kind of speaks to it. It can create a god complex, and I thought that was interesting. They see that now.
Yeah, right away.
Yes.
That you're good call out. That he sees it right away, and he's like, I need to know everything about this human being, not just because of the weird circumstances I find him in, but because of, like you said, how he talks and just the essence he has. It's fascinating.
Not to mention that they pulled him out of the ice. Like, they're in the Arctic. He's trying to find the North Pole. Because we start to see the themes of ambition and the themes of, like, loneliness. Like, Robert Walton, I think, is sort of a proxy for some of the themes that are bigger than just Dr. Frankenstein and the creature. It's like themes of there will always be people that were as ambitious as Victor Frankenstein, and he's one of those. So he's like, I want to make something of myself. I'm going to the Arctic. I'm going to find the secret of the magnet, is what he says, is trying to figure out what's up there that's magnetic and why compasses work. And he's trying to make a name for himself, but he's on the ship, and he's like, I don't have any friends who are articulate as me and are scientifically driven as me, and I'm lonely because I can't find people that are like me. It's like, okay, where do we see those themes, throughout the whole rest of the book? So then he pulls them up, and he's like, okay, finally a man that I relate to, which is ominous considering
where
Victor
are.
Frankenstein has been. Yeah.
The danger. I think it's something we're obsessed with with this podcast is the danger of ambition. Because this is, I think, like the fifth book we've read where that's a part of it,
Yeah,
Big thing,
that's true.
yeah.
And like I think it's a thing that I think everybody's kind of obsessed with, and I think science fiction is obsessed with, is just like the what is it, the hubris of man. It just is in so much of this science. It's what drives everybody. I feel like everybody has a form of hubris in some way, and that's why it's in all, like, every book we read. There's a form of it somewhere in it.
Yeah.
Pride is the ultimate sin.
Even the octopus from the octopus book, little fucker was prideful as hell.
Yeah, he was.
He was stealing
He
shit.
really looked down.
Yeah, he looked down on everybody, and then guess what? You just died in the ocean like a loser.
He's
That's
a
what
cocky little
happens.
creature. Yeah.
That's the real moral of that story.
That's all I got from that. I didn't read it, so.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's meet our cast here. Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but obsessive scientist driven to uncover nature's deepest secrets. We also have the creature, which Kyle pointed out is never one time called Frankenstein in the book. That's just a thing that we've done in modernity. But this is Victor's nameless creation, enormous, intelligent, and tormented by loneliness. We also have a couple people that are less well known. Elizabeth Lavenza, Victor's adopted sister and fiance. scandalous, representing purity and love. And then Henry Clerval, Victor's loyal, idealistic best friend.
Igor.
Perfect.
That's who. Then imagine.
You think
Imagine that's what your character gets turned into. It's like, oh, he's a dude with a hump.
is that what had happened? Did Henry become an Igor?
I'm assuming that's only.
I have
One to
no
one.
idea
I
where
don't-
Igor came from. He is not in this book.
It doesn't make
No,
sense.
not even close.
The creature technically is Frankenstein because his father and creator is Frankenstein, and wouldn't he just take his name?
No, because
Wouldn't his last name be Frankenstein? I'm
he
just
was
saying.
never acknowledged by his creator. So
No, he was. When the creator goes to make, we'll get to it, but at one point, he does kind of like refer to him as like his son or his creation, and he calls him father. So the creature calls him father once or
the
twice.
creature calls him father. Frankenstein
So-
cannot give this guy the time of day.
I mean, that happens to people all the time, and they still have their dad's last name. So I mean,
That's true. That's true.
I-
I guess it depends on what the creature
Te-
feels
I
is
think
important.
all those people who really got off on being like, actually, the creature doesn't have a name. Not you, Kyle. You were doing it in a helpful way, but I feel like there's some people who correct people in a
Other
mean
people.
mean way.
I get off on that for sure.
Do you get off on? I don't think I didn't get
The
that
creature
feeling
does
from you.
not have a name. Well, no, if you call the creature Frankenstein, that's where I have an issue. You can call it
But
something
he would
else.
be Frankenstein. His last name would be Frankenstein because that's his surname.
Yeah, like in I, Frankenstein, which is probably one of the worst adaptations of this, he goes by Adam, which I'm fine with. He named himself Adam.
Adam
He's the first of his
Frankenstein.
kind. No, just
His
Adam.
last name is Frankenstein
Maybe he goes by Adam Frankenstein.
because that's
I
his
don't know.
dad's last name. You take your family name from your dad, and it's a patriarchal society that they are living in.
On a technicality, I'm going to give it to Mac.
Yes!
Technically, probably his name is Frankenstein. If he ever filled out any kind of birth certificate or
ever filled out-
documentation,
But
which he
Victor-
probably did not.
But Victor would never allow him to carry his name, is the point I'm trying to make. If
Oh,
Victor
really?
had it his way, Victor would never allow him to carry his name.
Well, I mean, Victor doesn't want the creature to do a ton of stuff, and guess what he does? He does exactly that.
He
I'm just
fucking
saying.
does it anyway.
It's because of Victor's negligence that we have what we have.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the creature the creature is so petty. I think he would call it. He'd be like,
No, you're
"Oh,
right, the
I'm creature.
creature-
My name is Adam Frankenstein."
Yeah, the creature would probably be like, I'm just Victor Frankenstein Jr. just out of spite. Like, I think he'd be like, I'm going to carry your whole last name, you
Yeah.
stupid bitch.
That's what you get.
Um,
That's what you get. This is
yeah.
an exercise in pettiness.
Yeah.
I just can't get it out of my head. Like, Victor catches up to him after his whole family's been killed by the monster, and he's like, "Stop calling yourself Frankenstein."
Stop using my name, dude.
Spoiler alert, Evan. You should have issued a
Yeah,
spoiler
sorry. People
alert.
died. People died.
It's not his
We
whole
should
family.
issue spoiler alerts. It's a thing we should do.
No,
courtesy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I also think if something gets ruined for you and you didn't think that was going to happen from a podcast where we say we read the book for you, I think
Yeah.
that's
on
the
you.
spoiler alert, isn't it?
Big spoiler alert here. Big spoiler alert here.
That's right. Well, as a boy, Victor becomes fascinated with alchemy and the pursuit of forbidden knowledge. So, alchemy being like old school science,
Yeah.
pre-science, trying to find the elixir of life and turn metals into gold. But in university, he studies natural philosophy, which leads him to a dangerous discovery, the secret of life itself. And he wants to prove that he's discovered this in an impressive way. He wants to like fully showcase just how much he's figured out this secret. So he decides to construct and animate a whole human being from assembled corpses.
Yeah, and a little bit of context. Victor is a pretty normal guy for the most part. Like his upbringing, he has good parents. They adopt Elizabeth as his like sister, best friend. He has a pretty normal upbringing, but then he's interested in alchemy, which people are shutting down because they're like, that's old science. And then when he gets to university, some professors are like, you're an idiot for studying that. That's old science. So he kind of has a chip on his shoulder, but then he just dives into this obsession, almost compulsion to prove himself right. And it just happens so fast where he discovers how to create life from nothing and then he does it. And the whole time he's just like locked in. The rest of the world is going by and he doesn't care. He's just locked in on this one thing. That's his sole purpose. And he does it pretty dang fast. And he's young. He's a freaking university kid when he does this. That's never depicted.
Well, I think it's the issue of we talk about hubris, but also if you grow up like he does, where everybody's like, this kid's a genius. Like you kind of get that juice in you, and I think he does. He has a spark about him that is special, and I think that leads to. It's kind of like if everybody tells you you're awesome, and then at like 20, you lock yourself in a room to study, you're gonna be warped. Like you're not gonna have a good you're because your sense of self is already inflated, and then you don't have anything to batten it down. You don't have a couple of failures to really fuck it up. And so when you don't have those little failures to kind of even you out, it will balloon into this big, huge thing. And it's like I like the idea of like loneliness creates, and that might just be the lens that I'm looking at it from now, but I feel like this book really talks about like loneliness destroys people in various forms.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because like Victor is lonely in his thought process and is like, I'm gonna do alchemy. And everybody's like, no, you can't do alchemy. And he's like, I'm a fucking amazing person. I'm gonna do it alone. I'm gonna go off and do it on my own. And that's the beginning of his downfall. I think that like loneliness is kind of the epidemic for these characters, similar to how we are having an issue with that now in life. Like everybody, the second they become lonely or they're by themselves, they make these choices that are not based in like reality because it's just their own thought process, and it leads them to fucking destruction. And it's fascinating.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I want to sit with that because I hadn't thought of
Yeah.
it that way. I also just like, but the difference as we see later is that Victor Frankenstein's loneliness comes from
Self-isolation.
self-isolation and thinking you're better than everyone.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
but you're right, but it's still isolation. And if you're wondering, well, how does he create the secret of life? Does it dive into it in the book? All we know is that he had an experience with lightning when he was a kid that inspired him, and and that he's a genius. And that's all we know. So the trope of the lightning and stuff, we're just assuming that played into the creation of this creature, but it's so vague, and that's what makes it almost so much scarier.
There was a line though that I caught this time that I haven't caught on previous readings, where he says he had to like basically dissociate a little bit from what he was doing and working with all the cadavers, and then he sneaks in a little line and he says something about like, and the innocent creatures I had to torture to like make it work. And I was like, wait a second, what is that? It doesn't explain, but it seemed to me, maybe I misread it, but it seemed to me that he had to like hurt or kill living creatures to make the Frankenstein's creature thing work.
Damn.
Yeah, probably like testing
You're
it out.
right.
I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of like
Yeah.
he died. I think he literally creates this demon out of like all the worst parts of himself. It's Jekyll and Hyde has that a little bit.
Ah.
If we think about that, this is why reading is important, because you expand your brain and then you read a couple of things, you can relate them back and forth. Like if you can't
And the
read,
world makes a
learn.
bit more sense.
The world
Yeah.
it does, and you can have a more interesting dialogue in your head with
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah, that is interesting because he talks about. So I took that as like he was trying this with smaller creatures first,
Mhm.
but who knows? Like, but he does. He's like, I had to torture shit, but it's also vague. But he gives us little
Yeah.
glimpses into it was not a good, beautiful process.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
again now I don't know why I'm on this like weird existential thing, but
It's good.
but like because I've been trying to think like why has this book stood the test of time so well, and like we read Jekyll and Hyde, and that one has but not as much, but like why is this one so good at it? And it's like these little things of like he creates his own, you create your own demons, the shadow self, like he creates this big, like he basically externalizes all of his worst aspects, like he's a good looking young fit guy and he makes this massive like monster, and it's like that's fucking Dostoevsky talks about that with your shadow self and all that shit, or whoever does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, but that idea of we create our monsters in our life.
I think that's why it stands this test of time, you're right?
Yeah.
Because the story's so damn good. And one note, because I found this interesting, the reason he makes the creature big is because it just gives him more to work with. Is my
It's
understanding, right?
easier, right? He's
It's
like
easier
it's
for
easier
him.
for him to stitch everything together the bigger the thing is.
Yeah,
Which
he's
I
like,
thought
I'm
was
just gonna
funny.
make this giant thing because it's easier for me. And it's like you didn't think about that,
Yeah,
did you?
does not consider. So if I
No.
make this thing, it's bigger and stronger than me. Which I think I always have that argument with like robots in movies. I'm like, why would you make the
Yeah.
robot big enough to hurt you? Like, why wouldn't you make it like a wheel? Like, make it small.
Yeah, I think Dwight in The Office, when he designs a robot at one point, he's like, it is half the size of man and has an extension cord so it can't chase you. I'm like, that's practical.
Yeah, that's genius.
Yeah. So don't make something twice your size that's stronger than anything ever created, buddy. Anyway.
There's one like parallel that I'm thinking of, which is AI.
Yeah.
And I thought about this during Jurassic Park, and we didn't talk about it during the episode. But Jurassic Park, I feel like, has a lot of similarities where it's like you didn't create a war machine, you created something that thinks and feels, and you can't hope to control that. And like, there's so many parallels I feel like to what we're doing, and we meaning like the human species with AI, because we're creating something that's like we want this thing to think and at least emulate feeling and be able to invent new science and make progress and do people's jobs, right? And everybody's all worried about that. But then people are like, well, how do we make sure it's going to act in our best interest? And everybody's like, oh, don't worry about it. Alignment. That's the word they throw
Yeah.
around. They're like, oh, we're doing alignment research. We'll be able to control it. And it's like, no, you could have the best alignment possible. It's a chaotic system. It's like, not to go all Ian Malcolm on it, but it's chaos. You can't control that. You can never hope to control that. So it's like, we're kind of in a little bit of a Victor Frankenstein moment as a species, all just like collectively creating a monster right now in humongous data centers that are like draining whole grids. It's like, this is happening. This is real life, not science fiction.
Yeah.
So it's weird to think about and then see the consequences in fiction. And you're right. That's why it's important to read.
It is so funny. There's these things that when you create it, you don't know. We don't have a comprehension of what we're creating once we create it. Like, you don't know how your kid's going to act when you make your kid. Your kid can do a million things. But I think it's so funny that despite having all of that knowledge like we do, everybody just does it still. Like, it's still just,
Yeah.
people just do it. We've had
without
this
a
book for
thought.
like 100 years, and people are still just
Yeah.
like, fuck it, make a monster.
And the consequences in this book could not be worse. But oh my gosh, I love this book so much. Please
good.
continue.
Well, Victor does succeed in animating his creature during a stormy night, but recoils in horror at the results. He collapses from terror and exhaustion, and when he wakes, the monster's gone. Disturbed and ill, he's nursed back to health by his best friend over several months. This is Clerval, his best friend.
I love this guy.
Takes kind of months to get back to his former self while the creature remains at large.
Okay, so let's break down just the creation process, and then from when the creature leaves, because it's very short. I want to understand how you guys saw it, because I remember reading this in high school, and there's this really creepy, eerie moment where he creates the creature. He's horrified immediately, like it's like just immediate remorse, but he's like, I'm exhausted. Like, I've spent months doing this. He collapses. He goes to bed, and he wakes up, and he sees the creature, and it appears to be smiling at him. Like, do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
It's like trying to reach out to him and be like, "Hey, I'm here. You created me. Love me." Like, it's trying to do that, and he's like, "No, I can't." And he just ignores it, and then by the time he goes on with his day, the creature's gone. And fortunately, Henry, who I ignored in my first reading, who I now love, Henry comes back, and he's like, "Hey man, my dad let me come to university. Let's party. Like, I'm here to be your best friend and help you with whatever you need." And it's so sweet.
And
Hope
it's like,
nothing bad happens to
and
him.
it's like, nope, I'm sick. I might have accidentally. I love that Victor just refuses to tell anybody. He's like
Yeah,
almost
he's
embarrassed.
not-
He's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, back to what I was doing. So-
He just had the most traumatic night ever. He's like, I just created life. My buddy's here. My best friend in the world. I'm not going to tell him anything.
Yeah, I can't tell
insane.
anybody about this because I just did something insane.
Literally, he's like, hey, come back to like my dorm. No, that's not what he calls it, but he's like, here, come on back. I'll show you where I stay. He's got a little lab, whatever. And then he gets to the door and he's like, you wait here. And he goes in, he like checks every room and he's like, all right, come on in. And Clerval's like, what was that? And he's like, nothing. I didn't expect anybody to be here. It's fine. So creepy because he talks about like the difference in how he was thinking about it when he was patching it together. It was sort of like, this is a cool thing I'm doing. He's like, oh, look, it's all I put them all together and this has been difficult. And he looks at it almost like this work of art, but it is horrifying and ugly and scary. I just think he doesn't realize that. And then when it's suddenly alive, he's like, oh my gosh, it looks horrible, you know?
Yeah.
The consequences
it's
of his
alive
actions.
now.
It's
Yeah.
a male problem. We don't think about the consequences of our actions. That's the last thing. We're just like, I'm gonna do this. This will
Well,
be good.
neither did Mary Shelley, because if you look into her life, I'm not trying.
Teaser.
And we can go on this rant, but I thought, oh, she's just some lady who grew up at a time where women couldn't do much. She had a fascinating life.
Well, let's catch up with the monster. What's the monster been doing while Dr. Frankenstein's getting nursed back to health? He is unsurprisingly rejected by every human he encounters. The monster goes out and his senses sort of like come together all at once. And he doesn't understand anything. He has no words in his mind. He feels hunger. He feels cold. He finds some like berries and nuts and tries to figure out how to eat. He finds a little fire, figures out how fire works and that some food can be cooked. He kind of narrates at one point his coming to be, but he eventually comes like in contact with other people and they're terrified and freak out and he doesn't understand what's going on. Finally finds a family, the DeLacy's, in a cottage, and he watches them for a long time because he's like, I can't show myself to people. So he's being cautious. He's watching them through a crack in a shed. And conveniently, somebody who doesn't speak English shows up, and somebody in the family is teaching her how to speak English. So through that process, he learns how to talk. He like steals some books and reads those: Paradise Lost, Plutarch, Sorrows of Werther by Goethe, and he like starts to really think and reason. And all the while, he's hoping that one day he can find a way to reveal himself to this family in a way that garners him acceptance. So he gathers firewood for them, and he's trying to figure out like, how do I see them loving each other. I want that. How do I get that? Why am I like this that I can't have that? Is what he's thinking.
Yeah, and the creature is like it's like a baby. It's he is so innocent and not knowing what's going on, but he realizes really quickly people hate me. I don't know why. He's like, but people are horrified of me, and then he figures out it's because he looks different. He's like disfigured, but he just wants acceptance so bad, and he's just trying to be like, I just want to have not a good life, just a life where I can be in a relationship with someone and talk to them um and he's just observing and learning, but like at this point he's just like a little toddler, and he acts that way, and then he quickly just learns I want acceptance, and that's where he falls in with this family. And it's very sad. It is very sorrowful and heartwarming in this weird way.
One of my thoughts with it, as you were talking about it, is this kind of idea where like Victor brought him to life, but did not give him a life. And I think that's like an important like I don't think Victor understood. It's the issue that you come into when you have hubris and you don't think about the consequences. It's like the creature wanted, like he just wanted to make something be like animate. He just animated this thing, and then the creature learns like what an actual life is, and like he can't have that. And that's actually worse than just like animating something. And like Victor should have just killed him immediately, but he didn't. And
Yeah, that would have been the merciful thing in a lot of ways. You're totally right.
And like, so Victor did not bring him to life. He just made a thing that walks around. And once he realizes that, of course, you become a murderous fucking freak because you're just like, why did you? I can't participate in this. You just made me like watch you play a video game, and that's not fair.
Oh man, that's exactly right. I think that Victor's hubris is on full display and often gets called out as like the theme of the book. We've already talked about it.
Yeah.
My opinion is that Victor's true
cowardice.
It's cowardice.
Yeah.
It's a failure to take responsibility for one's actions. Like, he created a thing. He has a responsibility to that thing. It lives. It's like with kids. Like, I've got 2 kids. It doesn't matter what I want anymore. My life's not necessarily about me as much as it was before. Like they have to have somebody. And he doesn't bring him to life. He just animates it. I like how you said that.
Yeah, no, that was perfect, Mac. And I love that you said like it's hubris, but it's also cowardice. It's the inability to be accountable for your actions, because you can't create this thing and then just bounce and just like you can't create something that's never been created before and then just be like, I'm just going to eat soup with my buddy until I feel better. That's not how it works.
I do think that the monster is the better written character, and I think if I like made up like if I was just like, oh, let me pretend to be in Mary Shelley's head, I do really feel like whoever like her parental figure is, if we were just playing devil's advocate, no, I'm just making this up, this isn't real, but like,
no, you're not. This is actually like, people think what you're about to say.
Okay, because I feel like she sees herself as the monster and that her parent like left her, and I'm like, this is from some people who like have a connection to that kind of thing, reading it this time and having more, I shouldn't have read, like in high school, this is completely lost upon you, but now when you're reflective, I was like, oh shit, like that's what this really is about, is just like that pain of like a parent abandoning you is in what it does to you, because also the pain makes you bad. like, and that's one of the things that I thought was really interesting is like, and we'll talk about it later, but like this pain that he starts to feel is not it does not his refusal to let it heal or his inability to let it heal because of Victor is the biggest issue. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And also, and then my joke point is you shouldn't read philosophy. I just I'm just slowly the more I think about it, I'm like philosophy does not help anybody.
Especially when you're so young and impressionable, don't give them freaking Paradise Lost.
Yeah, you should.
Plutarch Lives.
I think there
The
should be
Stars of
like
Werther. Like, come on, man.
that's like trying to put too much code into a computer that can't handle it. Doesn't have enough RAM. It's gonna crash the system.
Yeah. No, that's deep shit.
Yeah.
And the monster, as he's reading this, he's like, I related to Adam in Paradise Lost because that's a story about Adam and Eve, just a long, beautiful poem about it. He's like, I related to Adam, but you know who I related to even more?
Satan.
The devil,
Yeah.
because
Ah.
no one acknowledged, like, people hate him just to hate him, and it's like, damn, that's not great.
You're like
It's not a great thing to hear.
you're like 5 years old technically. You probably shouldn't be
Yeah,
having
you're
that.
5 years old. You're stronger than anything that's ever lived before. Not a great thing to be going on in your head.
And I do like that he's not like
Oh.
Lenny from Of Mice and Men. He gets smart. I like that it's not
He's real smart.
Yeah.
they don't
It's-
ever go down the path of like it's an idiot. Like he's a highly intelligent being once he gets like the books in.
Yeah,
and he's
he
really
just
good.
learns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really good at learning, which I like.
Mac, to round out your thought, just context on Mary Shelley. When she was 16, she met Percy Shelley, or later her husband. He was an older man, married man, and they fell in love, and her father did not approve. And so she ran away with him and took her stepsister, who later had trouble. So there's like some crazy parallels, but her father disowned her completely. And so she felt rejected and spurned by her creator in some ways. And then at 17, she had her first baby, but it was stillborn. And she was struggling at the time with the feeling that like she had come with Percy, but was no longer good enough for him because she lost a baby. And so she absolutely wrote herself into the monster. Like these were all feelings that she was feeling, like abandoned and alone, and like she wasn't good enough for the people she wanted to be close to. So it's tragic when you think about what was going on for her.
Yeah, that's awful. But like if you feel pain in your life, fucking write it down in a journal because you might accidentally make a seminal piece of art.
yeah, exactly.
Like you should any pain that you feel, like but that's what is important about books. Not that I keep going on this. I'm being so annoying today. But
no, we love books on this podcast. We say you don't have to read them, but
Sure.
damn it, read them.
Read 'em.
Also
You should
listen
read
to
'em.
the podcast.
because but like you like that level of I think that's another thing. It's kind of like an idea of like a tulpa. And I know that we're getting really far off of what we need to be talking about, but that's why we're doing two parts. It's like the idea of a tulpa. It's this idea of like when you fill something up with like that emotional energy, you know, the more honest and like expressive and like the more you put into it, the stronger you make that thing. And I think that's fair with like it's not even just artistic pursuits. Like if you put a lot of emotional energy into being really good at basketball, or you put a lot of emotional energy into like doing like anything that you do that you can be expressive through it, it does create like you can like supercharge these things that then they last for forever. Like this book, which I thought was cool. That's my random
Yeah,
little rant.
I
We
love
can
it.
take it out. We'll put it later.
No, I love it. Can you explain tulpa to me? That's a new word.
Yeah.
Tulpa. Is that the right word? Well, yeah, I learned it from a movie. But a tulpa is essentially this thing that like if you get like Slender Man was technically a tulpa, where like if
Oh,
it's like if
Interesting.
everybody believes in this thing, you create it, right?
Interesting.
And so like it's that same kind of thing of like there's something with people and our emotional energy has something about it, not to be woo woo, that you can do that to things. Like if you
it's like haunted houses.
yeah, you charge it
Yeah.
up, you know, you make it
Okay.
into something. And like
Yeah.
it's interesting, like that's why I love that we find that out about her is like she like that's why this book stands the test of time is she put all the shit that we all feel that are such natural feelings, makes it interesting, not just complains about it, but like makes it like gives you some like a
Yeah.
framework to think through it in a natural way or an interesting way. And then because it's so filled with that emotion, that connectivity, fucking 300 years later, we can relate to a 16-year-old lady from France or wherever the fuck. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful. And I mean, and had she not, obviously, we didn't learn this context when we read this in high school.
No.
Because it's sad and dark. that these things happened to her, and I don't think that was the first of her kids that she lost. Um, but like this real terrible pain that I can't and I hope to never experience. Um, yeah, she put it in something that was useful, and that's I don't and that's the point. That's the whole point. And I don't want to talk about that anymore. I want to talk about the monster.
That's a fun new word. I love that new
Tulpa.
word.
The
I'm gonna
tulpa?
use it all the time. I'm
There's
gonna say it every day.
but watch this movie. It's called
Okay.
The Empty Man. It's a little long, it's a little slow, but it's super interesting. And it's not the best thing, but it's super interesting, and it talks about tulpas a lot, and watch it.
Tulpa in the
Amazing.
context of
Okay.
Slender Man is interesting because it was just a scary game we played on the computer at Josh Thornell's house, and then girls killed each other over
So,
it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that's insane.
It's like the power of the mind.
The mind.
It's a fucking
And
what can we do with this thing? We shouldn't make one
What
that
do you
runs
do?
off computers.
No, that's a bad. It seems like a bad idea. I'm gonna call it now. Bad idea.
hot take from Evan.
Yeah. All right. Well, through the letters from his stepsister, Elizabeth, Victor learns of the murder by strangulation of his youngest brother, William. So remember, Victor's still in Geneva, and he is getting letters, and something tragic has happened. His youngest brother, who's a child, has been killed.
He's like
A
8.
stolen, yeah, real young. A stolen locket that William had on his person was found in the pocket of the Frankenstein's young, innocent servant girl. And that seals her fate as she's executed for the crime. So Victor realizes too late that his own creation has resurfaced to enact its revenge, which we'll find out more about when we're back next week for part 2. So, what do we think of the book? I guess let's talk about what just happened.
Yep.
He's having to just watch as this trial plays out. The servant girl's convicted.
It's all bad. And
Not good.
he's a young, like he's a college kid. I mean, he's not. He might be a bit older at this time. But he's in it. He's deep in the throes of watching this girl who he knows it's his responsibility, but he's like, I can't do anything, like you said. But Clairval says something when he finds out his brother dies. He says, the pang is over, his sufferings are at an end forever, a sod covering on his gentle form, and he knows no pain. He can no longer be a subject for pity. We must reserve that for his miserable survivors, which I thought was just, it's going to lead us in to the rest of the book. That it's not the people who are dying who are miserable, it's the survivors. It's everyone else who has to live with what is happening. And that's exactly what Victor is in the midst of right now. He's having to live with all this sorrow and stuff because he's not accountable and he's kind of a piece of shit.
Boom.
I think it started good and I ended it bad.
I think you ended it great.
All right, so part 1, it's just getting interesting. Lots happens in part 2. We'll get there. But I feel like, man, themes so far, we're talking about why this book is so good, why it stood the test of time. What do we think about it?
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, I love it. This is a great. It's had my brain spinning out. Obviously, if you've listened to this whole episode to this point, you can tell.
I want to talk about this forever. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of context we didn't get into. So Mary Shelley, how did she come to even write this book? We talked about she was 16 when she ran away with a married man, Percy Shelley, had his baby, stillborn, and right about that time, her stepsister was with, I guess, like her significant other, her lover was Lord Byron. And they were like, let's go visit Lord Byron. And they went to his place in Geneva. They had just been on a tour through Europe. And in Germany, I believe, there is a Frankenstein castle. And there were alchemists there, like famously working on Elixir of Life. So it was sort of like in the context of this trip, a lot of things that were on her mind. They ended up at Lord Byron's house and it was stormy and rainy and like no fun. They couldn't go. So they're in Geneva and Lord Byron's like, well, all our plans are ruined. So let's have a competition who can write the scariest ghost story. And that's where we got.
That's where this came from. Wow.
Yeah. Lord Byron, you dog.
That's you know what? I don't hope this, but it would be funny if he's like, let's all write the scariest ghost story. And then he's like reading through hers. He's like, oh, this is terrible. I'm going to hold on to this. This is trash.
That's what, like you know that's what happened. He's like, he had this awesome idea for a ghost story. And he's like, I have an idea. Let's all do it. And he thought his was just going to be the best that's ever been written. And then his buddy's wife writes one that just stands the test of time and influences us forever is just kind of funny. Stupid idiot.
You imagine, you're in like your rainy house and you're a famous poet that like ushered in the romantic movement and you're reading Frankenstein like, oh shit, this is
You're
real
like,
good. She's 18 years old.
he's like, I suck at everything. Wow,
He's
it
like,
just destroys him.
babe,
That's
your
funny.
stepsister freaking
She's
she's single?
She
She's
sucks.
single, man. This slaps. This slaps hard, bro.
Well, because we know back in the day, the dude's like, anytime a woman was even kind of smart, he's like, something's wrong with her. We should probably. This girl sucks.
Yeah, he's like,
Get her out of my house. She probably brought the rain.
she brought the rain. You did this.
You did
Now we
this.
can't visit the castles with the alchemist, you stupid girl.
Yeah, she doesn't clap hard enough. He's like, oh, she thinks because her book was better than mine, she gets to not clap at me, bitch.
Nah,
Trash girl. Anyways,
Yeah,
it is
Lord
interesting
Byron
context.
probably deserves what we're giving him right now.
I
I
assume-
haven't
Actually-
read any poems by him.
I haven't either,
Oh,
and I
no.
might read his stuff and be like, "Oh man, how could I?"
He's
but
probably
that's
a
very
genius.
interesting context.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably just like, "We'll do Lord Byron next." No, we won't.
Nah.
Nah,
Nah,
I love it. It's good.
I love it.
Good. Well, that's our show. We'll be back for part 2. Thank you, Mary Shelley. My goodness, what a book. Incredible. Honestly, probably, we've talked about this before where it's hard to pick a best book or your favorite book or whatever, but this is up there in the column of like the greatest works of literature
Of all
ever.
time.
So
Yeah.
it was so much fun to do this book, and can't wait to do it more next week. So the show's on Spotify. It's also on all the other podcast places. We're on Instagram at BibliaFools. We post some clips so you can see our faces and our mouth holes kind of just moving, which is great. So it's a lot of fun. And if you have a book that you want us to read, we have a perfect one-of-one track record of reading books that are requested by listeners. So email us at bibliafools@gmail.com. Somebody give us parting advice. Whose idea? I feel like this was Kyle's idea.
So this was
initially.
actually originally McKylan's months ago, and then I think I was like, let's do it in October because spooky. And you know what? I don't regret it because I read this in the October weather as Clerval was just going off about how much he loves the sun and the sky because that's what Clerval's going to do before something may or may not happen to him. And this is a perfect time to read it. Read this book in October if you live in the Northern Hemisphere because the climate's amazing.
Yeah.
You said to McKylan what we always say to McKylan, which is let's wait on your
Let's
idea."
punt.
Let's
Can we
wait on
punt
your
it? Can we punt that idea? Yeah.
It's a great idea. Let's do it later.
Let's do it later until one of us thinks of it, and then we'll do it then.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Naturally. Thanks, Keone. Here, I got some parting advice. Don't hold on to things. When things happen in life, and don't take it personal. Don't hold on to it. Let it go. Just let it go.
Let it go.
Be like Elsa, dog.
The cold
Yeah.
doesn't bother you anyway.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. We love you all.
Bye.
Bibliofools.